Hi friends, good morning. It is Wednesday. I'm headed to work. It's really early. I want to try to get there as early as possible and do my hours because Brooke has PSATs today, which I am really nervous about because my daughter does really well. Man, my face looks really swollen today. I definitely got to start. I always like to look back at my animals, make sure they're okay. I really got to lay off the food at night because I had lost a little bit of weight and I feel like I'm putting it back on. Look at my earrings. I made these. There's a little spider web and then a little spider. The other one, the top came off, so I got to fix it. I didn't want to wear that spider, but that's okay. I feel like my face looks so swollen. My eyes look weird too because I did something underneath and I made a mistake and couldn't fix it and didn't have time. Now that I'm done criticizing the shit out of myself, I'm trying to get to work because I have to be back to pick her up for after PSATs. I'm really nervous because she's very smart. Like, don't get me wrong, that kid's gonna do something special. But when it comes to taking tests, she kind of flops. And I just think it's very common. And I think that the fact that a lot of colleges determine a test and they overlook the fucking 4 years of hard work that you did, whether you did well, extremely academic, whether you were the 3rd in your class. My sister was the 4th in her class. She did every club and every sport you can think of. Even after she had a bad car accident, she continued to do javelin, she did track and field, she did cross country, she did t-ball, baseball, softball, she did everything you can think of, every club, everything you can think of, and she did well on her SATs, don't get me wrong, but it's like tomato, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand how that test is what determines, even if you were a straight A student, say you were a straight A student, you did everything you could possibly do to accommodate these colleges and you fail your SATs, that's bullshit to me. There are a lot of very highly intelligent people that just cannot take because of the stress behind it. And I think I have a big dirty, my glasses are filthy. I have to stop and get gas. I fucking, sorry for my language, that's 2 times, I am sorry. Hate going to this gas station because the man harasses me. And my husband told me to stop going, but literally where I live, the next gas station is 30 miles if I don't stop here and I don't go in the other direction. He harasses me, and it's not even like anything crazy. It's just little things. He literally brought his coworker over to look at me, and he looked in the window, and I was very uncomfortable, and you knew that's what they were doing because my daughter started getting upset, and I'm like, damn, what in the hell is going on? I do tell my husband, but you know, they're men, they get pissed off and then they tell you, just don't go. Well, I don't really have a choice all the time. So he had his friend come look in my window, he makes remarks to me, and of course there's no one here but him. All right, I'll be back, you guys. Okay, so I'm waiting for him. I'm just filling my tank. Thank God there's a couple other people because it's him and he keeps looking. My whole car is tinted, the front windshield with limo tint. I know it's illegal as hell. It's coming off before my daughter drives. It's coming off very soon. He just makes remarks about like just my behavior, weird shit. Like he'll be like, oh ma'am, you're just so polite. Aren't you just so polite? And like I said, I know it's not anything crazy, but it's like, do you ever just know something's a little off about someone? And it's like, my God, he's still staring at me. I'm just trying to get gas. And it's like, Jesus Christ. He'll make remarks, but the one day he literally went and got his buddy. They were looking, they put their head in my fucking window. And my daughter was like ready to cry because she's a very nervous person as it is. And I'm like, Brooke, just relax. If anything, I'll just drive off. I don't give a shit. I'll drive off with the pump in my car if I felt threatened. I'm not one to play with. And I know this is like the tale as old as time. How many videos do you see of women being followed and being harassed at the gas station? But it's because it truly happens. All right, my gas is done. He'll be right over. Okay, we are good. I wasn't gonna I might not even put that part in here. If I do and you see it, I am sorry for being fussy, but it's scary, you guys. Nowadays, it's like, as a woman, you can't do anything. I love summer because I feel like I can go grocery shopping at 8 o'clock and be safe at night. But once winter comes, man, I'm in the house by 5 if my husband can't take me. All right, perfect. It's 8:45. We are perfect on time. I thought today, oh no, that kind of cast so you can't see me. I thought today we would just do like a chatty car vlog because it's gonna just be super busy and I'm not gonna have time. Maybe I'll have a few minutes in between. We're just doing leftovers for dinner, which is perfectly fine. They always taste better the next day. Sorry that was a little weird yesterday, the video. I should have put the whole dinner in one, but it was like a vlog style. It wasn't like me showing dinners. Like I've said, like, beat it to death, I don't really do cooking videos like I used to. I know that's how some people found me, was through my cooking and cleaning videos. It's just so kind of nerve-wracking to show food. People are so particular and don't like, what I don't understand is, okay, you don't have to take the whole meal by heart. Like, it's just giving you a base to something. And I watch so many different types of cooking videos. I'm sorry, you guys, the lighting is gonna be shit. It's very sunny today. Oh God, you're not gonna let me over, are you? I watch all different, sorry the lighting's gonna be kind of wonky. Man, I hate getting onto this highway. It is a nightmare. These are all Philly drivers and New York drivers, so if you come to New Jersey and you're trying to drive, just be prepared because, my God, it is not a fun place to drive, that's for damn sure. And if I have to drive into Philly, it's only happened to me twice where I had to drive into Philly, and then one time I had to drive up by Collingswood and Cherry Hill, and let me tell you something, my husband does it every day. I don't know how, because it gives me a heart attack, these drivers, man. This is a seriously crazy place. The only other place I can think that could be as crazy is probably California, but I don't know, or anybody from California, like, what's the driving like over there? Now, my sister moved to California for about a year and did fine driving, but I wonder if that's because she came from a Philadelphia area in New Jersey where the drivers are lunatics. And myself included. I mean, you have to be a defensive driver in order to drive in this area. I remember watching a video of someone who came down from up from the south, and she was like, we do not drive like this. And she was in New Jersey. She's like, and these drivers are a different breed, and I can contest not only that, the road rage is on another level. But what I was saying was, I don't watch one type of cooking videos. I will often watch who are my favorite people to watch because, number one, they're very creative and innovative, and not like in a disgusting way, just they give you some amazing ideas. I love the fact that there is zero food waste when I watch these types of channels, and it's usually people that do pantry videos. Like, they go to the food banks or the food pantries or whatever their local church is, and they get food, not necessarily food they would have typically bought, but they're just happy to have. I would have got over for you, but idiots, you see what I mean? But they make the most creative and delicious food. They are typically who I watch, and I don't have to necessarily take exactly what they made. It's just nice to get ideas and then base it all, like, just take, if you can't have salt, then don't add salt. If you can't have garlic, omit the garlic. But you can make something very similar. So I get weird and nervous because I know people really just bash on other people for their cooking. Number one, it could be the way they were taught or never were taught at all how to cook, and they're just learning. Different cultures eat differently, and it's just unfair to make people feel bad about how or what their resources are or how they can cook. It just really stinks, in my opinion. But today, I don't know what we're going to talk about. I do have a video filmed, but I don't even know if it's relevant. It was me kind of talking about being an adult and how hard it is to make friends. I don't know if I'm going to post it, so one thing I will touch on today, maybe for a few minutes. And I don't know how much of it I really want to share, but I'm going to share a little bit just because I had already brought it up once about how my father's children from his previous marriage reached out. Remember I told you about that? She reached out to me, my sister. She is my half-sister, I guess. I hate that. Like, it's just my sister. She reached out. She sought me out. She was very, very adamant and excited and wanted to meet me. We were exchanging pleasantries. The messages were beautiful. Nothing I said, like nothing. I made sure before I said anything that my daughter would proofread it, correct any grammatical errors. Not that that matters, but I wanted to sound intelligent. I wanted it fluent. I wanted it to be a pleasant read when I sent something to her. I tried not to talk too much about our dad because I could tell in some of her letters back that it was a very sore subject for her. And I, a long time ago, as a part of moving on, I forgave both of my parents. Not for them in any way, but so that I could move on. And I, as a mother, I will never understand their behavior and be able to forgive them for that. But as a person, and knowing how friggin' damaged both of them were, I had to forgive them. And I could tell that, like, she isn't there yet, and she may never be. And I understand because what they did to us was not right. But things seem to have been going well. Like, I said to her, like, I would love to know personal things about you. Nothing crazy, just like hobbies. Sorry, this is coming undone. God darn it. It's probably because it's been sitting in the sun. Hopefully that will fix it. Nothing like insane, like not like, oh, hey, what do you make a year? Or, hey, how much you got in the bank? Anything crazy like that. Just like, what are your hobbies? What is your favorite color? What foods do you like? Like, how was your pregnancy? Is it anything like mine? Was like mine? And we had a lot in common, believe it or not. And like the messages were, she was like, hey, don't take offense to it. I take a couple days to write back because I have a toddler and I like to sit down and really concentrate. I'm like, hey, same. I gotta get over this person. They gotta go so damn fast, man. I was like, no, same. I was like, I'm a busy person as well. I don't necessarily, no problem. I'm the same way. And I never like thought, hey, maybe I should give her my phone number. I just didn't think about it because it was so soon, and I figured, I just don't know. But the last message I sent was August 27th, and I haven't heard anything. She's been active on Facebook, but she hasn't wrote back. I asked my husband his opinion. My husband, when it comes to me, my husband is so sensitive and gets so upset, and I almost told him, like, hey, he doesn't have Facebook, it's just a personal read, he just doesn't like it, but sometimes he'll sign into mine just to look at like different phishing apps, different like Facebook Market. I don't use Facebook that often, so I don't care. We're married. I don't mind if he signs in. I mean, if he really wanted one, he certainly could have one. He does have TikTok and stuff, but like, he's almost 40. It's like he doesn't really care to. But like I said, maybe you need to delete Facebook. I said, you got to stop checking to see if she sent me messages, because it's like tearing him up because he was so excited. And I've already expressed in other videos that I don't have adult friends. I don't have friends my age. My life was very different after my mom passed away. I had different priorities. And I'm not a social drinker. And I know this is going to offend some people, but I feel like if nowadays, if you don't socially drink or you don't smoke marijuana, and this isn't for everyone, for God's sakes, please, I'm talking about my inner circle of the few people that I know. I just noticed that, shit, I gotta try to get over it. Sorry, dude. I just noticed in the circle that I am friendlier with and kind of know people in, if you're not a social drinker, you're almost the outcast. I've never cast judgment on these people. I've never said anything. If they choose to smoke marijuana, I don't care. My grandmother has and does sometimes, or sometimes takes medical edibles. I've smoked marijuana in the past. I haven't in almost, oh Christ, 6 years, way longer than that. It's not has anything to do with other than I need sobriety, complete sobriety in my life, or I can't function. I need to be 100% in control. It has nothing to do. I know that's the way people relax, how some people feel better. It can help you with your mental health. It can help if you have cancer, AIDS. I know all this. Like, so I don't care. I literally don't care. I don't care if you decide you want to be an alcoholic for the rest of your life. It is not my business what anyone does unless you're harming yourself or harming others around you. And then I will help you, but I can only do so much for another adult. You know what I mean? But I always feel like almost the outcast. I have a horrendous fear that if I'm out and my husband and I both are drinking and something happens to one of our children and we can't leave immediately, we have to wait for a taxi or an Uber or a ride, and something happens to one of my children because of that reckless behavior of not one of us being sober, I'll never forgive myself. So if I'm having a full meal, carbs, heavy meal, I might allow myself to have one beer or one glass of wine. I'm a bigger woman, and alcohol, for some reason, when I drink low-grade alcohol, like a beer or a seltzer, and if I have a big meal with it, I'm usually okay. And if I wasn't, I would never get behind the wheel because I know the effects of all of it. That being said, I noticed that these are the reasons I feel ousted and like I don't fit in. There is one person in my life that seems to be, other than my husband, of course, that he is absolutely not included in this. He doesn't give a shit. But he likes to socially drink. So, not to mention, he is the life of the party. I am telling you, if you saw my husband, you would fall in love with him. He's just that type of person that everyone gravitates towards. Either they want to be like him or be around him or just suck up his energy because he's just such a fun person. And that's kind of like my grandmother. My grandfather always said to me, it's nice when you are with somebody who's a talker because you get to just listen and it takes that burden. And my grandfather doesn't really like to talk, but he's a listener, kind of. He just got a hearing aid after my grandmother's been screaming at him for 30 years. He finally got a hearing aid, but he still can't hear anything. But I'm not going to be the one to get involved in that. That's a fight. That's a hill I'm not ready to battle. And she was going to die on that friggin' hill getting him a hearing aid. This is my ADD. I got to keep on track. But like I said, I noticed that I do have one other person in my life who always kind of sticks up for me and says, hey, she's always been fun whether she's never been a drinker. She's fun whether she drinks or not, and she doesn't care. But I still think that people know they're doing something wrong by overindulging and being plastered, and they feel bad about it, and they feel like I'm judging them when that's the last thing I'm doing. It's just a personal thing. I've seen what alcohol does to people. My father died because of drugs. My mother had a drug and alcohol problem. It's on both sides of my family. So I choose to not overindulge. I'll allow myself to have no more than 3 seltzers if I'm home and I know I'm not going anywhere. No more than 2 glasses of wine. It's just a personal thing. I know my limits. What the hell is sticking out of that person's car? That scared me. It's a leaf and it looks like a creepy hand. That's just how it is. Yes, I'll get out of your way. Give me a second. Jesus Christ. Oh, it is their hand. Holy shit, that scared the hell out of me. I thought it was a leaf, but it's their hand. So, that being said, I don't make friends easily. And I always say, like, I say to my sister the other day, and she kind of got upset with me. I was like, I'm obviously not very easily, I'm not like a likable person, obviously, because it has to be me, or I'm just very, I'm not tolerant of bullshit, I should say. So, for example, I don't find it funny to get a laugh out of at the expense of somebody else. I don't think it's funny to make fun of somebody I'm not talking about poking fun and joking. I'm talking about laughing at someone, getting a laugh at someone's expense, like hurting them. I don't find it funny. I don't find racist jokes funny, and I don't find laughing about gay people funny. Maybe I'm politically correct. I don't know. Maybe that makes me stiff. I just don't find the shit funny. I never have. I've been always the type that it's none of my business, or you be supportive, or you keep your mouth shut. I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's funny when you know that one of our friends that my husband is friendly with, daughter, is a lesbian. She came out and was brave enough. She is, I'm not going to say her age or anything about her. And you continue to make gay jokes. I don't find that funny. I actually find it repulsive, and that's what is the source of trauma, and I don't like it. And I'm not saying I'm a perfect mom. I know I say things I shouldn't, I lose my temper, but I am trying to teach my child tolerance and acceptance, and to not look at a person and see the first thing you notice is the color of their skin, to see beyond any of that. And if you see someone sitting alone at a table, invite them over. So these are my views, and I will never be a people pleaser, because I always feel like it's the biggest betrayal of yourself, is being a people pleaser. And it was something very hard that I had to work on, and I noticed one day, I said to myself, man, I wonder if it's the way I look is the reason I don't fit in with this group of people. I wonder if it's because I get dressed every day and I do my hair and makeup. I'm not talking about like my physical appearance, because I'm not the most beautiful. There's always going to be more beautiful people than you. But I do pride myself on always having my hair done, always doing my makeup. It's just a personal thing. I feel better when I do. My home is always presentable. Not everybody has these luxuries, I understand, but I'm very grateful that I do. I also only have one child, and she's almost 17. So she doesn't take up a lot of my time as far as being a toddler. I get that, and I get that a lot of times you end up being frumpy. You can't comb your hair when you have a lot of kids. I do get it, and for a while I thought, man, maybe that's why I'm just not going to ever fit in, because I don't have little kids. And my husband says, this is how you've been your entire life. You're not going to allow this to happen. It has nothing to do with you. And that's the day I was like, you know what? I will never, ever change who I am to make someone else feel better. Because I think I'm a really decent person. And I know they always say, like, if you're a good person, you don't say you're a good person. But I always, and I don't mean like a people pleaser. Like, I mean, I'm not going to change my feelings and say something offensive because other people think it's funny. No, you'll know if I don't like it. And I'll tell you a story about it without leaving in too many details. But what I mean is that I make sure to always be kind to people. That's not people pleasing. That's just being a good and right person. What I mean by people pleasing is I'm not going to change that I do my hair and makeup, and that I keep a clean home, and that I'm an animal person. I love animals, and I will go to an animal before people. It's just who I am. If you're looking for me and there's animals in the house, that's probably where I'm going to be. And that's just who I am. If there's babies, that's probably where I'm going to be, is staring at the baby or waiting to hold my turn to hold. Or if there's children or teenagers, that's most likely where I'll be. That's where I feel comfortable. That's my comfort zone. I have been taking care of my sister since I was 12 years old, a little tiny girl. I was always taking care of my sisters. That is where I'm comfortable, is taking care of people. So because of that, I don't fit in. And I noticed that I can't hide the fact that I don't find things funny. We were at you're gonna have to go around me, I'm not going any faster. We were at some type of just gathering. Some people were saying things that were so bothersome, and I understand sometimes if it had been up to me, I would have left. I just would have left. I would have excused myself. I do it often. I'm not at a point in my life where I'm brave enough to confront. I wish I was, but I've never been confrontational a day in my life. often I get walked all over because of it. But I hope someday I am, and I'm getting there. I'm much better than I was, where I would partake in anything that I didn't agree with. Now, at least I will not. And if it got to a point where somebody was being hurt, you guys, I would say something. But I am a wuss. I am not someone who's going to be confrontational. I just can't do it. I'm not there yet. They were just saying things that I didn't like, I didn't agree with. And the guy kept looking at my husband and saying, and my daughter, one, she feeds off my energy, okay? We're like connected to that. We don't even have to talk to know. We just know. And she knew I was upset. And the guy kept saying to my husband, what's wrong with your girls? Why aren't they laughing? What's wrong with your girls? He just kept saying that over and over again. And every time he said it, I got more angry. And I kept thinking to myself, because you're not fucking funny. You're rude. And you're making jokes at expenses of people that aren't funny to me. And I know someone's not going to agree with me and it's going to tell me I'm a stiff. But I just, I don't find it funny to humiliate anyone at your own, at the expense of a joke. I don't think it's funny. And I'm not talking about being... My husband picks on me from the minute he walks in the door to the minute he goes to bed. And it's all in good fun. And let me tell you, I have the thickest skin because of him. And it is what it is. My sisters and I, we call each other every name in the book. Fat, ugly, B-I-T-C. It's just our humor. So I am by no means, and I am believe it or not, I don't bring it to my channel. I am working very hard on my dirty mouth, and I love a filthy, dirty joke, okay? I just do. I love dirty jokes. I love talking about dirty things. I think it's hilarious. I love hearing people's adventures in bed, things like that. I am not a prude. I love it all. I love listening to it. I think it's disgusting and funny and happy and everything. I love it all. Okay, so I am not but when it comes to a human being and people's rights, I don't think it's funny. So all that to say, I don't make friends easily. So my husband was very excited I'm very close to my sisters. I get along very well with my family. But they've known me my whole life. They know this is how I am. They know I'm socially awkward. They know that I say things I shouldn't. I don't think before I speak sometimes, and things come out of my mouth that are awkward and weird. And sometimes I think people are put off by it. And I don't do it on purpose. It just happens. I don't get social cues very easily. I don't read the room. And when I see that there is a clear, obvious solution to something, I'll say it without thinking. Just stuff like that. But my family's used to it. So we were very excited when she reached out. It was so happy because it was something that I finally had towards a link to my father. My father died in a horrific way, and it's haunted me because I know he was a drug addict. I get it. And unless you've grown up with drug addict parents, you might not understand this, but they can be a drug addict and still have been a good person. He was a wonderful, kind, gentle man. He wouldn't have hurt anyone but himself. And yes, he hurt us by not being in our life, but he couldn't. He just couldn't get away from the drugs, the lifestyle. He wasn't just addicted to the drugs, it was everything. And he was cross-addicted. He would take anything. He just wasn't a bad guy. He never did anything to hurt anyone. So the way he died has haunted me. I don't know if I should share it because it could be very, very, very triggering. And unfortunately, a couple weekends ago, I wasn't even going to share this. We had to drive in a very not so nice place in Philly. And I've never had, very rarely do I get something that causes a severe reaction out of me. And we saw some of the homeless, and you knew they were doing drugs right in the open, and it was so devastating to see. I literally had to close my eyes to get the hell out of there as fast as possible. It's sometimes very hard to avoid when you're in Philadelphia because it's everywhere. And And it just brings me back to the idea that, like, my father died alone and in a horrific way, as well as his, apparently, I had an older sister as well. I knew her growing up. I played with her for many, many years. I just didn't know she was my sister. And she also had a horrific death. It's just a lot of trauma dumped on me, and I thought for once in my life I had somebody that could connect on that on a different level. My sisters and I have our own trauma, and I always say to her, my one sister, we really should start a podcast about family trauma and talk about ours, and then maybe just because we have a different perspective on it. Unfortunately, we deal with it with a lot of humor, and it's really not funny. But she hasn't answered me. Basically, all of this, long story not short, she hasn't responded in 2 months. And my husband's way is like, hey, write her. But I didn't reach out, and yes, I am someone who definitely cuts their nose off to spite their face many times. But I've been burned too many times in my life that I don't often do second chances, because it's like, if you're going to do it once, you're definitely going to do it again. Unless it's my sisters and my daughter. They're the only people in my life that I'd probably let walk all over my face and keep taking them back. They're my kids. It's not the same thing. He says to me, just write and say, hey, just want to make sure everything's good. Hope to hear from you. And I'm like, yeah, sorry for burping. That's a good idea. Maybe I will. And I haven't, because I just would like an outsider's opinion, like someone who has no tie to this. Like, what would make someone be corresponding? There was never, it was only like maybe 3 days in between, and they were long, detailed messages. I sent one that was pretty long and just answering questions she asked and asking questions. It was nothing inappropriate. I haven't heard anything in 2 months, and she's been active on social media. I don't know if she's having second thoughts, but I just feel like she would owe me at the very least to say, hey, I thought about it and I'm not ready for this. Maybe at another time. Anything. But I haven't heard anything from her. Should I say to her, hey, haven't heard from you in some time, just want to make sure everything's going good in your life. Let me know when you get a chance. Do I do that? Do I reach out one time and that's it? Maybe she is, obviously I know she's had a lot of trauma in her life as well. Maybe she feels, maybe it's like a game, like not like in a conscious way, but like maybe she's waiting to see if I'll reach out on, I don't know how to explain it. I'm glad that was necessary. I don't know. I would like your opinions. I would like to know what you think. Should I reach out one time and just see? I don't know. But that's my thoughts on, I guess I did touch on a little bit of why I feel like I'm ostracized and I don't fit in. And my sister says to me, I want, number one, would love your opinion. Should I write to her? Should I just send a little message? And if I don't get an answer, then that's my answer, right? Does that sound like a good thing? To me, it sounds right, but I would absolutely love, you guys watch me, you're a part of my life, but you have no ties to me in a way, do you know what I mean? So you know a little bit about me, but it wouldn't benefit you in any way whether I do or not. So I just would like your opinions. I hope that's not harsh, but that's the truth. But yeah, I feel like I've never really I had a lot of friends in grade school and up until about 9th grade. I guess all throughout high school even. I just wasn't really as popular once 10th grade came around. I kind of did my own thing. But I did have friends. I always had somebody to hang out with, somebody, whether it was a cousin or it was friends, I always had somebody. And then this mostly started in my adult life. Just never making friends. It just never seems natural for me. I'm also somebody that either I'm gonna immediately feel comfortable and close to you like I've known you my whole life, or it's never gonna click and never feel right. And when I mean I don't have friends, of course I have people in my life. Like my husband has a bunch of friends and they're all very nice to me. It's not like they're not nice to me. They're all very warm and welcoming, and we do things as a group, but I don't have someone that I personally text daily, check in with, hang out with, go have a drink with, go have a lunch with. I don't have someone like that. And I'm not looking for a huge group. I'd be happy with just one person, to be honest with you. I really would. Even just one person, I would be happy. I don't even care who they are, how old they are, what they look like. I don't care any of that. But it's just hard. It never, I guess I was never a lonely person because I always lived right down the street from my grandparents. My sisters were still living with me, and every day I had 25 different kids at my house. I was so busy. And now things have kind of slowed down. I don't have any more little kids. Almost like empty nesting. And I know I need to either find a group as far as like a book club in my area, something in the community, a church. I thought about doing volunteering. I know in my area, you can volunteer at the animal shelters. You can volunteer to, because we do have children's hospital only a half hour from my house, you can volunteer to rock and take care of infants in the hospital when the parents are, if it's a long stay. I don't know. I was looking at some of the volunteer for all that, and maybe I will meet people that have common interests that way. I need somebody that's outgoing, I think, someone very different than me, but not necessarily, I guess another introvert would be fine, but I do well with people that are more extroverted, and it kind of takes that weight off my shoulders of needing that, like someone who's kind of like my yin to my yang, like the way my husband is, but I know I'm never going to find anybody like him. He's really just like a one-of-a-kind person. And don't let me not fool you in any way. He can really be overbearing for someone like me. I get out-touched very easily, and he's someone who would literally hang on me 24 hours a day, and I often have to say, hey, I feel overtouched right now, I need a minute, and it makes me feel guilty, but it's just the way I am. I spend a lot of time alone, so I can feel overwhelmed very fast. So I gotta find somebody that kind of balances that for me. But it's not easy. It's not easy. And I know I'm not the only one that struggles with making adult friends. It is a bitch, man. And it's easy because I seem very comfortable doing this and interacting this way, but it's something different. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a personal diary almost. And you look back and I don't know. It's a little bit different. All right, you guys, I'm not going to bore you anymore. I'm sure this is boring enough, but I would absolutely love your opinions on anything I've talked about today. I don't know. Listen, I get nervous talking about certain things because I don't ever want to trigger anything in people. That's why I'm kind of hesitant to talk about a lot about my father, but I'm really just, I pretend like things don't bother me, but man, it is really kind of eating at me because I just don't know what would make her reach out, be so excited, and hear nothing for 2 months. I know it's nothing I did because I haven't said or done anything that would be upsetting. I can't figure it out, man. I just don't know. I know people go through things, and I don't know, I've just never experienced this in my life. It's new. All right, you guys, so like I said, today's Wednesday. We're just gonna do like a car vlog. We're having leftovers. If anything exciting happens, I'll be back, but I think this video is long enough. I will see you in my next one. I hope to hear from you guys in the comments, because it really does help me kind of work through any of these things. And maybe someone in the comments have gone through, or someone watching this has gone through something similar. I don't know. In a way, these are like my favorite videos to do, but I know that not everyone likes long videos. But in a way, these are my kind of favorite videos to watch as well. Just people that talk about their experiences with certain things. It's important to feel heard and relatable. I know how important that is to people, because it's important to me. All right, I'll see you later. Bye, guys.